from my mouth, waiting for the next profundity to drop. So here it comes. So all you got to do is log into your Zoom account and say, what you want to be identified as in terms of first and last name. In my case, as you can see, I am first name meeting, last name host, meeting host, right? So why do I identify as that to the group? Because we have multiple people that use this hosting account, namely Karen. Karen is a co-host on these sessions, and I had to set her up with access to this account. And so it just said John Lavenio all the time. I'm like, well, that's kind of silly. Let me go ahead and make it a little bit more universal. But right now, I'll go ahead and change my name just so you guys can see it change. John L. Hooray. Bam. I'm John L. now. Anyway, good to see you all. John Lavenio here with you as usual on a Wednesday. Of course, you were rid of me last week. And then Monday, of course, I told of my adventures and hopefully how they relate to what you guys are doing here. Hopefully you haven't been going through the frantic, nonstop randomity and chaos, which is moving. I heard that next to, death of a loved one and something else, divorce, maybe, this is like the most stressful thing you can do is moving.
New job.
Yeah. So new job, is that one too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mindy. That brings me, what you just gave me? I was looking for content. Mindy just gave me content. Thank you, Mindy. With 2 words, new job. She just gave me content. I'm going to go back a few years now, and I'm going to relate an experience to you that you may or may not relate to, although we can find usefulness in it, hopefully. And this was when I was a schoolboy, like brand new to, in my case, public school, which is what I was enrolled in. And up until that point, I was I guess, a toddler, a little boy, right? And now I'm going to leave the comfort, the familiarity of my home, my mother, right? Granted, she was also divorced when I was 4, right? So there was, I had a bit of a interesting childhood with some of that, but I had a lot of fear about that. I'm going to be away from this person, which appears to me as a 5-year-old or whatever, appears to me to be the source of my survival, sustenance, security, a mother. Okay. And so I'm going to venture into a new area that is bereft of that familiarity and trust that these authorities that I'm being entrusted to have my best interest, and I will survive this experience. I remember that because it had an impression on me as a little boy, right? Some of the things, and you guys know, you all have it in your life, the things where you can go back and say, that was a life-shaping event, or that's something that just keeps coming up, or that's something that stuck with me, made such an impression, I can still remember it to this day, even though it was 50 years ago. Okay, so what does that have to do with business? Most people have jobs. They have, well, let's go back in time a little bit. Back in the Industrial Revolution, right? There was a transition from being personally marketable. You are the cause and the responsible party for your own survival, lifestyle, sustenance, etc. You, Mr. and Mrs. Blacksmith, plumber, whatever, are personally marketable out in the village with the other colonists or whatever, and you make the horseshoes for the horseshoe guy today because he's got the horses, and tomorrow you go sell your services, you sell your services to the other guy who needs the other metal work, Mr. Blacksmith, and you were personally marketable, and you did not have security. Here comes the Industrial Revolution. Hey, never mind all that, Mr. and Mrs. Blacksmith. Here's the factory, and now you have one job. You don't have to go out and get a job with the other guy and the other guy. You got one job. You don't have to sell yourself anymore. And you push the button, you pull the lever, you do the thing. You show up every day, and you're going to have security. Now, this method, right, this new method, built up, major metropolitan cities and everything else. Before that, it was more pastoral, a lot of farmers and this and that. So it consolidated people into the places where the jobs were. Why? Because that's where the jobs were. And that is a form of survival, security, sustenance. I can go there, and I know. Anybody ever read that book, Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer? So I would pull it off my shelf right now, but there was nothing on my shelf. So Who Moved My Cheese, right? So I get my cheese here. And before I had to go and find cheese all the time. But now I've got, Mr. Big Bucks who's just paying me a salary, and I get to show up and do the thing in one job. I don't have to be personally marketable anymore. I wrote about this in a booklet that I wrote called How to Prosper in the New Economy. I probably need to rewrite it because it's been some years and the economy is changing all the time. But the idea that we left our comfort zone to get into a different comfort zone, which is a real sticky one. And still to this day, most people that assuming they're gainfully employed and supporting themselves and not, living off the dole or something, what do? Are they successful entrepreneurs, or are they working a job? Right, they're working a job or multiple jobs, right? Why? Because somebody else created the vehicle for them. Somebody else said, all you need to do is sign here, and then you just keep showing up and do enough to not get fired, and here's your paycheck. Security, familiarity. So here we are, back to little Johnny going to school for the first time, leaving the comfort zone. Here you are, in some cases for the first time. Some of you, this is not your first rodeo, okay? But you're leaving the comfort, you're leaving mommy, and you're going into a new environment, which does not have knowns, does not have, right? It does not have the familiarity, the security, the predictability. There it is. I know little Johnny, when he cried for milk, he got milk. That's a workable method. And now I've got to evolve. I've got to use words and stuff, right? So I may be oversimplifying this, but I've got to learn new methods of communication in this new environment. I now have to confront a new public who may or may not exchange with me that which I seek. I mean, that's the whole idea here is with commerce, right? We're exchanging value for value. Hey, you've got some of those dollars. I've got some of these coffee cups and T-shirts and stuff. You like that coffee cup, don't you? Yeah. Let me take some of those worthless dollars from you. You take the cup. Yeah. Right. Okay. And so how do we get into that communication? And how do we do that? Here's the point. How do we do that as a newbie, but do it with such confidence, with such certainty that we show up as the person who people would want to exchange with? Understand that people don't throw money at you because of your need, because you beseech them to, hey, give me money. No, people exchange with that which they seek value. They see value in that, right? In most of my experience working with people, more so than hard products, not physical products so much. I work more in the world of intangibles and information products and stuff. But like I'm a coach and mentor. Like, would people want to exchange with me here? John, here's your fee. And here I am, like my life's not working and I'm desperate and I'm like a rat looking for cheese. And is that who you want to be coached by? So there's no hiding with that one. Okay. So that one's for real. Here, I think it's also for real, although you may not be in a dialogue with, your person who's buying your cup and T-shirt and pillowcase or whatever. However, you still have to show up as someone they would want to exchange with. Therefore, when we look at how we engage this new environment, you're going to school now, little Johnny, and you're going to meet all new people. Okay. When we engage that, we must do so as a person who we can perceive is a valuable person. How do we do that? Well, look at your coffee cup. Look at your shirt. Look at your designs. Are they the designs of someone who is putting out something that they are confident is going to connect with that target audience? Now, great news, you're not 5 years old and you're not just leaving home for the first time. You've got a bit more resources. Okay, so you can assess, you can survey the marketplace. Oh, they like that. Oh, they like that. Let me get into that conversation that's already going on in their mind, and let me impinge upon them and let me induce a decision. Yes, exchange. Here's $20. Take the cup. Right? Let me do that. But at the outset, when we're so new to a method, I know some of you are here as your first day. I met a few of you on your welcome session today. The question I think you could ask yourself play with this, if you will, is what would Rachel do? Or another way to ask that would be, how does Rachel show up in the marketplace? Rachel being, let's say, someone who has accomplished certainly millions of dollars down the road from where the new person is here using these methods. Well, in what way does she use these methods? You see, it all comes back to something that Wallace Wattles said in 1910 in his classic book, The Science of Getting Rich. He said, by the way, how's my hair? It's like a bad hair day, like every day here in Florida. It's a bad hair day. It's good for the skin, though. I haven't used skin moisturizer. I probably need it on my hands with all the cardboard. Anyway, he said that getting rich doesn't happen because you do certain things. That's not what makes you rich. Getting rich happens when you do things in a certain way. Listen to the words. You don't get rich by doing certain things. You get rich by doing things in a certain way. And he talks about this throughout the book, certain way, the certain way, the certain way. And I've shared this with some of you before. Some of you have read this book. I've sent you this book. It had a huge impact on my life. I did an entire 4-day seminar just on this one book, which is only, I don't know, maybe 50 pages or something. You can read it in one sitting. But the certain way, we could say, when we look at role models, when we look at people who are further along than we are, how they show up, how they behave, how they occur in the marketplace, they occur with an air of certainty. Aha, that's the certain way. It's not a special way or a specific way or this or that method. It's not certain things. It's doing whatever those things are in a certain way, in a way of no doubt, in a way of certainty. That's the certain way. And then whatever your profession is, blacksmith, coffee cup person, online coach, mentor, you are valuable. You are an asset to that potential transaction because of who you are, not just what methods you apply.
John, what's the name of that book?
Coffee cups. I'm sorry, go ahead.
What's the name of that book? I'm sorry to know.
Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. It's out of copyright, so I can send you a free one. 1910. Where is it? Hold on a second. Dropbox. I got a Dropbox link for you. eBooks, SGR, copy Dropbox link. Hey, all my tech is working. Look at that. Bam. There you go. So we don't get rich by doing certain things. We get rich by doing things in a certain way. So whatever your methods are, which is what so many people are so damn concerned with, so concerned with the methods, which are valid and necessary. Yes. How do you make the cups? Yeah, good. Learn the stuff. Learn the stuff. But once you learn the stuff, it's like, wow, a monkey could do that. Okay. Who's doing it? That's the question. The person of certainty, the person who knows where they're going, the person who is confident that they can show up in this new, scary maybe environment without mommy and get something of value done and impress upon others. One of the other things he talks about in the book is what he calls the impression of increase. To impress others with increase. Every time you meet anybody, he said, even if you're just selling a stick of candy to the child at the general store or whatever, that kid leaves with an impression of increase. My life is better now because I bought the stick of candy from John instead of Bob down the street. And then he brings his friends to John's store and more candy, right? So what is that? That's the impression of increase. I've seen people, and I know I'm just on a bit of a rant right now, but I've seen people in the network marketing space where they're attempting to induce others to enroll and to join and recruiting and all this to this new awesome business and the way of life that goes with that. And yet the person offering the opportunity themselves are beside themselves with fear and uncertainty. Like they're the last person you would want to enroll with. In fact, you can find them on Facebook bitching and griping about how hard their business is that they're telling everybody is so awesome. How does that work? I aim to please, Patricia. So Patricia's the only one unmuted, so I get to hear her chuckles.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Get a little bit of feedback. So the point is, and I know I might sound like a broken record with this because I've said it so many friggin' times. The point is not what do you do. The point is who is doing it. Who is doing it? Same methods that Rachel applies. Now you have the methods. And sure, you got a little bit of a learning curve with tech and gear bubbles and everything else. I get it. I get it. Okay, fine. Okay. But to what end are you doing this? And can you start thinking from that end? In my mastermind, we run a book study group, and one of the books we're reading right now, the book we're reading right now, is by this guy named Neville, who you've probably heard his name get kicked around here. Whenever Missy's on, she usually drops a Neville quote. But one of the things that Neville talked about was the idea of thinking from the end, not of the end. Oh, won't it be nice then? I'm thinking of the end, just like I'm thinking of the past. I'm not there now, but thinking from the end, putting yourself in the position physiologically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, of the wish fulfilled. Too late to fail. I already got it. That's the certain way. That's what Waddles was talking about. The certain way, different words. Thinking from the end. Now there's nothing to attain. I just got to show up and learn the methods. I just got to set up the receiving pipeline. All this work, the so-called work that you guys are doing, making the mugs and doing and learning the marketing, right? That's the so-called work. Well, really the work is right here, which is why we have these conversations. The doing this, the hands-on stuff, the pulling of levers and all that, that's the setting up the receiving pipeline. The money is ready to flow to you. We just got to set up the channels to appropriate it. So what you're learning in your course material is how to appropriate that which is already yours. By virtue of the fact that you've decided what you shall have. Or not, right? I mean, that's presumptuous, right? I mean, man who shoots at nothing is sure to hit it. So you damn well have better made some decisions. In fact, those of you going through our accelerator program, we're going to get to a point where we really dig in on goals, like for real, like nothing vague, no being vague. If you're vague, you get to be vague. Okay. So we're going to get unvague about this, unvague. And I'll tell you guys what, and I'll leave you with this, and then we can open it up for discussion. It's actually easier to get what you really want, even if it costs more, than what you think you can accomplish based on whoever you were yesterday. If you really, really want, let's say, just throw out some numbers, $10,000 a month, and you've got real reasons for that, nothing vague about this, okay? Oh, I have these purchases, I'll have these options in my life, this freedom, right? So I got a real reason for that $10,000 a month. The $10,000 is just ink on paper. What does it buy you? You got to know, okay? And if you could start thinking from that position, that you're the person who earns the $10,000 a month, it would actually be easier for you to achieve that than the person who's very reasonable and logical. And you got your friggin' spreadsheets, you see, and you're thinking, well, maybe $4,892 a month is what I should earn. Oh, I didn't quite make it, right? That's all very reasonable and logical. I'm asking you to get unreasonable here for a minute, right? What do you really want? And what would it be like for you to actually have it? That's thinking from the end. And then just going over that again and again. And then as that person show up and make the mugs, set up the receiving pipelines, do the work, the so-called work, appropriate that which is yours. You see, the fact that you can own that mentally, spiritually, emotionally, whatever, right, means it's yours. The only thing you're lacking at this particular moment is the physical demonstration of that. But my goodness, you hold the thought. You guys have seen this. You've seen this work in your life. And if not, do some experiments. You hold the thought of something again and again and again. It's not a fleeting thing, right? You wake up, you think about it. You go to sleep, you think about it. Whether it's something you want or not, like it or hate it, what you think about, you get, right? What you validate expands. You bring it closer to you. Try an experiment. Think of something you don't see every day. Red Corvette. I don't know. Is that something you see every day? Probably. I don't know. It depends on where you live. I'll tell you what. I had I wanted this car, Maserati, and nobody had a Maserati. Freaking nobody. And all I could think about was this car. And eventually I got the car. And wouldn't you know it? Like that day, I saw somebody else driving a Maserati. You got to be kidding me. What? I thought I was the only guy on the planet with the Maserati. No, here's the other guy too. You keep thinking about it, right? And it's an interesting story how that came to be too. I said I was going to shut up. All right, John, one last story. You guys want one more story? Yes? No? Yeah? Yes? Okay. So I got this car that I always wanted. It was a Lexus, right? Gorgeous, beautiful car. And then a year or so went by, and then Maserati came out with the Quattroporte. It was the first Pininfarina designed. Pininfarina is the Ferrari designer. He was strictly with Ferrari for a while, and then Maserati said, all right, let's do some work together. So he designed this Quattroporte, which means 4 doors in Italian. Biggest car made in the country of Italy. Okay, big friggin' sedan. I fell in love. In fact, the CEO or whoever the main guy over there in Italy, they were unveiling the car at the auto show. And he said, we designed the car to be like a beautiful woman. You see her once, you fall in love. And I was like, sign me up, damn it. Sell me that. Me. All right. And so more time went on. And I kept thinking, well, I got the Lexus. I always wanted the Lexus. It's freaking awesome. It's awesome. Awesome car. Right. I even went to the Maserati dealer and I said, I'm driving a Lexus now and it's great. But I see this Quattroporte. I'm just wondering, with the Lexus, Nippon Denso Electronics, Toyota Electronics are probably the best in the world. I'm wondering how the electronics, like the nav system and everything, how does that compare in the Maserati? He said, the Lexus is better. I said, okay, that's fine. Yeah. The other thing is I'm an audiophile, right? Like I spent 50 grand on a stereo system, and the Lexus has the Mark Levinson sound, and I'm wondering about this Maserati. Was it Bose or something? And he said, yeah, the Lexus is better. I said, all right. He said, you know what? You're here to drive a Maserati, not to look at maps and to listen to music. You're here to drive a Maserati. I said, all right. Sign me up. All right. 1 year waiting list. 1 year waiting list. What's it cost to get on a waiting list? $1,000, just like at Mercedes or Beamer? He's like, $5,000. $5,000. This guy was ready to show me to the door. Here I am asking about stereos and how much it costs to get on a waiting list for a car that takes a year to build. Custom everything, what color leather, what color stitching, everything, right? Anyway, I go and I do some other stuff, and I'm thinking about, maybe I'll get on the waiting. Maybe I'll do that. I was leaving an event. This was in Phoenix, Arizona. I was leaving an event, getting on Interstate 10 in my Lexus. 16-year-old girl runs a red light coming the other way. I'm making a left to get onto the interstate. She's going straight, hits me head on, collision. She was going about 45 miles an hour. Okay. Her car just barely misses the overpass, the wall, solid concrete. She would have been dead. Her and her friend ends up in a bougainvillea. I don't know if you guys know what bougainvilleas are. Beautiful green and pink. Yeah. Ends up in the shrubbery, right? My car spins around 180 degrees. I'm facing the other direction. Airbags deployed. Fluids on the ground, right? Total disaster. Car totaled. Okay. My friend who was following me, pulls up. Oh my goodness, Johnny, okay? I opened the door. The Lexus was beautiful. I mean, it took the crash amazingly. I opened the door. My first words to him, what an opportunity. I called the insurance company. They said, anybody injured? Miraculously, no. You going to sue anybody? Not interested. Here's retail value plus tax for your Lexus. I went to the Maserati dealer and I said, here's your $5,000. Give me the friggin' car. And a year later, I was driving it. But the point is, I kept thinking about the Maserati. I kept seeing the guy. You're a beautiful woman. You fall in love. Blah, blah, blah. Right? I'm like, oh, man, I can't stop thinking about this car. I like the Lexus, but I got a Maserati. By the way, I wouldn't do that again. I would buy a used one. I've lost so much money on that car. They do not hold their value. Nor does Bentley, by the way. My wife, because I spent 130 grand on a Maserati, she had to spend 190 on a friggin' Mulliner edition and Bentley Continental GT, which we lost probably 80 grand on in 2 years. All right, I'm done talking. These are first world problems. These are the problems you will have. I'm looking at my crystal ball right now. And when you reach your goals, these are going to be your problems. Get ready. Pick your problems, baby. What color leather do you want in your Lambo? Now you got problems. Anybody else have some thoughts about this? Nobody? Did I put everybody to sleep? Oh, that sucks.
Heck
Oh,
no.
my
You
God.
are so excited. You're like this fire right now, John.
Maybe I should host standing up more often.
You are emanating unbelievable stuff. Okay, I'm just saying you're like this light that's glowing right now, and you're shining, and you're showing everybody how it shines, and so I'm paying attention.
Well, thank you, Scott. Glad you're here, Scott and Scott. It's the twin Scotts today.
Yeah, it was a cloning process. What can I say?
Yeah, your hair is kind of fluffy too. I'm getting kind of fluffy.
Yeah. Well. Oh dear. I forgot what I was going to say now.
We were talking about serious problems of the first world.
John, I noticed something when you were talking about the Maserati. There was no sense of doubt or hesitation. I don't think you had any question in your mind about, can I actually do it? Can I actually acquire it? You were so obsessed with having it. I mean, you were already driving it long before the car even showed up. Mentally, you were already there.
I was still debating, but I kept thinking about it. So my point with that, Scott, was whether you are, it's something you desire or not. If you keep thinking about it, you keep validating it, it shows up, right? So I didn't know I was going to crash a Lexus to get it, but yeah.
But the impression I got was that the desire became more overwhelming than the question of whether you could get it or not.
Right.
And that's the thing that I think perhaps opened doorways to synchronicities that may not have occurred otherwise. The fact that you didn't even doubt the fact that it was going to happen. There was no question of whether you could do it or not. Because in a sense, like Harry Potter, you'd already done it. I think you had a Harry Potter moment, basically.
Okay. I've seen every Harry Potter movie like 5,000 times, including it, especially number 4, The Goblet of Fire. But I don't know what was the Harry Potter moment.
Do you remember when he fought the Dementors? And he was on the hippogriff flying away with Hermione, and she said, "How do you know you could do it?" And because you'd fought 100 Dementors, and he said, "Well, I knew because I'd already done it." And you were like that. You'd already done it. You were already driving the car. So just a question of filling in the blanks.
There you go. Now everyone needs to go watch Harry Potter movies.
That's Prisoner of Azkaban, I think.
Yeah, it was one of them. Yeah. My daughter's a Harry Potter fanatic. So anybody's thinking of.
He drive in the car now.
Yeah. Yeah. Do it. Go on Maserati.com and have a look. But get a used one. Don't buy new. Don't buy new.
Shit.
Yeah.
Sorry. Ignore what I just put in there. I copied and pasted something old. Sorry. I was asking about time. Like there's all these things that the meditation, exercise, reading, cooking to eat right, meetings, managing businesses, personal care setup. Now we got to go watch a movie. I'm out of time.
Don't watch the movie.
Okay.
Don't watch the movie. All right. You'll survive without it. Patricia, you got your hand up. What's going on?
Hello.
Patricia?
Well,
Hey.
I'm kind of bouncing off the Scott's thing that he just said a second ago, except instead of you weren't worried about it because you were already done it, I'm thinking you weren't thinking what the average person thinks of, can I afford it? That never came in your thoughts and your words. It was because you knew you could afford it. That wasn't a problem. That's a problem that I want, is to be able to get, and it's not a car. I want a Friesian with a 2-foot-long mane, jet black. It's a horse. And it's very expensive. And it's like 18 hands high. It's like a draft horse, but it's just, oh my gosh, gorgeous.
Right.
But anyway, that's what I want. I mean, they cost like $500,000 up to like $6 million. Yeah, one horse. That's my dream, is that horse. And I'd have to have it brought from Iceland. Yeah. I mean, that's what I want, is that horse.
Okay.
I want to be able to say, I want that one right there. Not even have to ask, how much is it? It's like the old saying goes, if you have to ask how much it is, you can't afford it.
Okay.
And that's my dream, is to be able to that's what I want to get out of this business, is I want to be able to go up and say, I want that. and not have to worry about asking how much the price is. And that's
Okay.
what you did a minute ago. And that's what floored me is he never even said the words, how much it cost, or asked the salesman how much it cost. You didn't care.
Well, I
You
already
wanted-
kind of knew. I mean, they're 100 grand plus, but
yeah, but I mean, you had an idea already how much, but you weren't worried about that. You just wanted the car. That's what the feeling that I want.
okay.
Is I don't want to be reckless with my money. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I want that feeling. Is that if I want something, I don't have to worry about, can I afford it?
Okay. I don't
That's-
understand $500,000 horse. That doesn't compute for me.
I don't understand a $500,000 car, but
Right. Well, a lot of people don't understand $50,000 stereo. Right. So
Right.
that's fine. I know people that
Yeah.
spend 100 grand on a watch. Okay, fine. So whatever your thing is, I don't know if they're strictly Icelandic, if they like to be cold or something. Maybe you
it's-
need to
yeah,
go there.
it's-
Right.
Yeah, I may have to move there.
Okay. And is that an
They have really
investment?
long
Is
hair and
is that like a breeding thing? Is that like a business thing? 500 grand to do what? To ride it? To look at it? What do you do with it? I don't
To
know.
buy it. Yeah. It's just,
Just-
it's a workhorse. There's like a draft horse, but
Oh.
there's so few of them left in the world that the price has gone up a lot. Plus they're just absolutely gorgeous.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you for
So
the
I
education
just
on that.
wanted, it's kind of like the Andalusian, who was the beginning horse of all horses. You know, that's where the Arabian comes from, is the Andalusian.
I don't know.
So-
Yeah, I know Iron Horse, Harley Davidson. I know Iron.
Yes, I'd like to have one of those too, but my
I got one
husband
of
won't
those,
let me.
yeah.
He
They're not
says I'm too
500
old
grand
for
either.
'em now.
They're not 500 grand. Although I'll tell you what, by the time you're done buying accessories, you might be in that range. So
I'm gonna get the tricycle instead,
yeah, start
or
with that.
either the scooter, the Harley Davidson scooter, and my husband's gonna put a radio, a stereo on the scooter. So
Oh,
when I
okay.
crank it up, it'll go whoop, 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 instead of the little scooter sound. It'll
That-
have a
that
Harley
could be-
Davidson sound.
Yeah, there you go. Now you've got a Harley. Hey, let's go to
That's it.
Deborah. Let's go. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank
You
you.
were awesome. Hey, Deborah, what's going on, girl?
Hey, how are you?
Deborah. Oh,
Good.
pretty hair.
I hate to bring everybody back down to earth, but I'm a little more earthy. I'm looking for a Ford F-150, so that's it for me. But I wanted to say, when you speak of, Scott speaks of Harry Potter, and each of us have different.
I'm sorry, Deborah, can you find the microphone? It sounds like the microphone's across the room or something. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
No, I'm right here. You can't. Everybody,
Okay.
Everybody else have to, okay, can you hear me now?
I hear you. Okay.
It seems like everybody will have their own passion of what they want. And I look at Harry Potter. I love the stories. I love the shows, the movies, and everything else, the characters and the actors who play the characters. But really what gets me is not necessarily the end results with the Harry Potter. It is the actual author who had little to nothing, that sat in a cafe with pieces of paper and wrote the story of Harry Potter. And the writing was actually passion, and I don't think she ever had any idea how much this passion would grow in the monetary means it was there. And I think many of us here don't know what the monetary means will bring us or how much it will grow or will have and we can do with it. And I think she is the person I look at, how genius that was, with pieces of paper, put together a story that she kept in a little box, her stories, to come out with something like Harry Potter that is a international sensation. And I think I'm at that stage, putting my pieces together out of my little box, and I do see this is a passion, it's gonna be a passion, and I do want to see it grow. I do want monetary, I guess, benefit from it, but I don't know the expectation of what it will be. So my goal is always to stick to the plan, make it work, and see if I can get to the place that some of you all are talking about. So I congratulate you on your Maseratis. I congratulate you on your Fords. And those of you there that have other ambitions to look forward to, but just think of what your passion is and stick to that. I just want to do that.
Beautiful. Thank you, Deborah. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
All right. And I would take a look at your microphone because it was kind of in and out. So just so you know, for next time. Okay, let's go to Scott and then Sam, and then we're going to wrap up for today. Hey, Scott.
Yes, John, I just want to pick up on what Patricia was saying. It sounds to me, I mean, yes, in a sense, you knew you had the money, and so you could walk in there with confidence and saying, I like, this is what I want. But I think it gets to the point where I think the ideal situation is whether you don't have the money, and you know you don't have the money, and you know you can't buy it today, but you spend so much time wanting it and dreaming and being in that car mentally that the money, like the methodology, like anything else that's between you and that dream being a reality, it all just blanks to get filled in. So if you don't have the money in your pocket today, and there's no reasonable way of you getting that money, then in a way it doesn't really matter, because when the dream's powerful enough, when the focus is powerful enough, ways are found. Yeah. Ways you couldn't possibly even predict, in the sense that you had that car crash, for example. You couldn't have predicted that, but the synchronicities do occur, and it's not just to get the goal, it's to get the means to acquire the goal. And so the question of whether you can achieve it almost becomes irrelevant, because, as you said, you've already done it. So somehow you did it. You just don't know how. So it doesn't really matter how. The question is almost irrelevant, if you know what I mean.
I do. And well said. A lot of times people ask if they're worthy of their goal. That's the wrong question. Is my goal worthy of me? Right? What do you keep thinking about? And is that what you really want? Because you're going to get it. You can get whatever you want. And I'm confident in everyone here. Nobody shows up in conversations like this on a daily basis unless they've got, a good amount of self-determinism and intent. Mm-hmm. So I think everybody here is pretty well armed. Now just learn some methods and get it done. Thank you, Scott. Mm-hmm. Sam, final word to you, sir. Sam Bennett.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Hi. Sorry, first of all, I was cutting at my internet, it keeps crashing. So I came on and I think it was Deborah that was talking about Harry Potter. I didn't actually hear anything you were saying, but she believed in herself. And I just feel that that's what we've all got to do, is believe in the product, because it took her 12 publishers to go through to actually get her first book published, and that was in the process of 8 years. So if she can do it and persevere, I think all of us can. But I don't know exactly. I think you said that she was like somebody you looked up to, Deborah. That's about the only bit I kind of caught. But yeah, so yeah, just, she's a good one to look up to, I suppose. And hopefully we'll all be in that position one day.
Well, there you go. She was creative. We're talking about J.K. Rowling, right? So she was creative and persistent. And I don't know how many times I've heard stories of, like the Colonel Sanders story, Kentucky Fried Chicken, like nobody wanted it. And then finally some guy in Salt Lake City said, yeah, let's do business. And next thing you know, KFC is all over the world. It took him years and years, right? So anyway, thank you.
The author of the Grey series, I don't know if you've had that, you've got that out there in the States, the raunchy one. She was from down the road from where I live, and she actually writ it as a youngster and just put it in a folder and in a box and left it there. And it was only that somebody found it and they said, what are you doing? You're sitting on, a huge thing. You need to just take it out to the world. And that's what she did.
Nice. So many stories like this. What's your story going to be, I guess, is the question we'll end off on, right? So think from the end. Think of here it is. Here's the triumphant success, right? And now that just do whatever it takes to lead up to that. And you don't always know what it's going to take, just like the Lexus story. So anyway, love you guys. Let's have an awesome day. Oh, Arlene, you've got a burning desire here before we wrap up. Let's go ahead and let's hear from Arlene real quick. Arlene. Hello, Arlene. Not hearing Arlene. Okay. Not working out. Okay, well, hold that thought then. I'll be back here with everybody. Arlene keeps raising her hand, but not unmuting her microphone. Arlene, I cannot hear you or see you. One more attempt with Arlene. Arlene?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Hey, hear you.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't. I kept pressing it. I've been working nights, so, I just woke up because I slept 2 hours, and I've been wanting to get on this. But I wanted to let you guys know that I'm on Etsy now and I put in, I'm going to try to get at least 50 of them this week, but I have like 14, 15, and I've got several to download from Gary Bubble into Etsy. So I'm pretty happy about it. And I got
Congratulations.
my-
That's progress, Arlene. Well done.
Yeah. And I just finished reading Consistency and I put it on Audible so I could be able to listen to it in the car because I'm so busy. But this means a lot to me and I'm going to continue. I'm not going to give up. Even when I got scared, and many times I thought, oh, I can't do this, you know, and then I said, stop. And now I feel a lot better about myself. The people that talk to me, I know how to stop a lot of the nonsense because I know what I want. I'm focused and just staying in tune with you guys and I listen to the tapes and because I can't get on all the time, but this means a lot to me and I want to thank you so much for helping me. And you know, that's all.
Thanks, Arlene. Glad you're here. Let's end off on that, everyone. I think there's going to be an after party today. So if you're jumping in on that, this room will open up again as soon as I shut it down. Let's have a good one. I'll be back here with you for Friday. Somebody, bring a joke because it's Fun Friday and I need to have some fun. So bring jokes and bring your dogs and cats and stuff. We're going to